Hey gamers, the old and young, beat-em-ups are action video games focused on hand-to-hand combat against large groups of enemies and typically in 2D scrolling urban environments known for simple arcade-style beat-them-all gameplay. And today's video, I'm going to tell you the top 25 best beat-em-up games you should play right now. Some of you maybe disagree with the ranking, but that's okay. All I know, these game is a good game. Start with the list, we have King's Blade. King's Blade is a 12-level medieval beat-em-up where you fight through the Barganian Empire's legions. Yup, there are 6 playable heroes, each with a distinct playstyle. Some are fast and built around long combo strings, while others are tankier, relying on parries and crowd control. No character feels perfect, but each shines depending on how you like to play. Combat has more depth than expected, with power-ups like flaming swords and magic scrolls adding variety instead of turning every fight into mindless button mashing. The real highlight is the 4-player co-op. Like the classic TMNT arcade games, King's Blade is at its most fun when you're beating the crap out of enemies with friends, and AI teammates can fill any empty slots if needed. Night Slashers has a killer horror theme, throwing together werewolves, rocking American-style varsity jackets, weird literary monsters, and a delightfully over-the-top story. The remake also adds a bunch of new mechanics that make combat feel a lot more fun. You can charge up supernatural projectiles, pull off screen-wide slide attacks, and grabs are finally useful since you can throw enemies forward instead of just tossing them around. The upgraded gore makes every fight way more satisfying. Blood sprays everywhere like a busted artery, and enemies melt into a mess after taking a beating. One little detail most people probably won't even notice is that enemies now bounce off the edges of the screen. That lets you keep juggling them in the air for even more damage, and honestly, it feels pretty damn satisfying once you start taking advantage of it. Rushing Beat X, Return of the Brawl Brothers, is a beat-em-up with story is about zombies and robots taking over a city, with a bunch of returning characters that honestly, I'm too lazy to list one by one. The main villains are Edgar and his secretary Scarlet, and they've got this Team Rocket-style running gag where they escape at the end of every stage, then show up again with some ridiculous new weapon or scheme. The gameplay is genuinely solid, with a combat system that has more depth than you'd expect. You can launch enemies into the air, juggle them, bounce them off walls, break their guard, and cancel moves into other moves to extend combos. The rage mode also returns. Every hit and throw fills the rage meter, and once it's full, your character becomes stronger, faster, and gains access to a powerful special move that clears the screen.
Ready to take Earth back?
Rah Rah Boom is beat-em-up games that follows 4 girls, Aries, Ren, V, and Saida, as they battle an AI named Zoe that decides humanity needs to be wiped out. Across 9 levels, you'll tear through waves of machines while switching between the characters. You can play solo, or with up to 4 players in local or online co-op. With the game clearly built around cooperative play, progression revolves around collecting scrap to upgrade stats like attack power, speed, and firepower. There's also a tag team system that lets teammates trigger special moves without consuming each other's resources, helping combat flow more smoothly. If you're looking for a co-op beat-em-up focused on fast-paced robot smashing rather than story, Rah Rah Boom is worth a look. Fallen City Brawl is a beat-em-up set in a crime gang-infested city. Yeah, the whole ignition gear takes over the city setup is there, plus 4 characters from different backgrounds who all somehow end up teaming up for their own personal reasons. Gameplay stays firmly in classic beat-em-up territory. Punch, combo, throw stuff, special attacks, repeat. Nothing fancy, nothing confusing, just that loop. There are Riot and Chaos supers too, which basically fill the screen with effects, plus a crystal system that lets you spam those abilities. That part is actually pretty fun, because it makes fights feel more hectic and visually packed in a good way. Yeah, the game is still fun in moments, especially in co-op if you just want a chill beat-em-up to mess around with. Final Vendetta is exactly a game that heavily inspired by Streets of Rage and Final Fight. And sure, the pixel art looks damn good. The character sprites are large, the animations feel weighty when you stomp enemies, and it's satisfying watching opponents get buried in the mud after being knocked down. Local multiplayer is included, but there's no online co-op, which feels like a missed opportunity for a genre built around playing with friends. The bare bones progression system cuts both ways. It keeps every run fresh by removing upgrades, but it also wipes out any real long-term character growth. You're either good enough or you aren't. There's no room for gradual improvement over time. Before we continue to the video, I want to give you a recommendation to buying games in this modern era, and that's it, ENEBA. ENEBA is a digital marketplace made for gamers with over 40,000 products available. You can find PC games, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo titles, gift cards, in-game currency, and a lot more all in one place. What makes it really worth checking out is the pricing. A lot of the deals are cheaper compared to official stores, and there are cashback offers too, which helps you save even more. What I also like is they support a lot of different payment methods, so you've got flexibility depending on what you usually use. They also offer secure payments and 24/7 customer support, which makes the whole experience feel a lot more polished and trustworthy when you're buying games. If you like getting great games at better prices or just want more value for your money, ENEBA is honestly one of the best places to check before buying anything. So if you're a smart guy, then you already know exactly what to do. All you have to do is click my link in the description below, search for your favorite games, and redeem the game code you already paid for. And by using my link, you'll not just get awesome deals, but also help me support this channel. Alright then, let's get back to the list. Double Dragon, it's a legend in the beat-em-up world. Now it's back with a revival called Double Dragon Revive. The story in Double Dragon Revive holds up better than expected. It takes place 15 years after a nuclear war, where three main characters from the Sosetsuken martial arts school get dragged into corruption and a mystery in a coastal colony. Gameplay is 2.5D, and each character feels different to play. Billy and Jimmy stick to a classic style, while Marion is faster and more aggressive, which changes how fights play out. The counter system adds rhythm to combat and pushes you to think instead of just mashing attacks. There's replay value through extra missions, and a visual novel-style gallery that explores enemy backstories. What surprised me is full voice acting. Every line is voiced, not just text like old retro games. The artwork is also solid, bright, expressive, and clearly well made. Slice! The Ninja Savior's return brings back the Ninja Warriors with upgraded pixel art, remastered music, and a few new mechanics stitched in. The main edition is pretty clean. Every ninja gets unique attacks and charge moves. You trigger them by hitting attack while pressing up, and it eats about a quarter of your battery gauge, kind of like sub-weapons in Castlevania. Because the stages are short and tight, the replay value mostly comes from running it back with different characters on higher difficulties. And yeah, each ninja android actually feels different enough to matter. Ninja can dash mid-jump and hover a bit, while Yaksha has a low jump but makes up for it with a multi-use special attack that changes how you approach fights. If you're into nostalgia with a bit of modern tuning on top, this one's an easy pick.
The scarecrow from that eventful strike 4 years ago.
Mayhem Brawler is a side-scrolling beat-em-up that basically feels like fast food in gaming. Everyone already knows this flavor. Final Fight, Streets of Rage 4, and a ton of clones that make you go, yeah, I've seen this before. So when Mayhem Brawler tries to stand out, it does have a few decent ideas, but also some issues you can't ignore. Combat per character is solid enough. You get grapples, special attacks with a separate meter, so no health drain, and limited use weapons scattered around stages. A small detail I like, enemies only drop weapons after you actually finish them. It's minor, but it makes fights feel more intentional. Big downside: offline co-op only. You can play up to 3 players locally for maximum chaos, but there's no online co-op. In 2026, that feels like a bad miss. The TakeOver basically knows from the start it's standing in the shadow of a giant, and instead of backing off, it just goes, yeah, I can hang with Streets of Rage 4 too. What makes it interesting is the extra systems like the rage gauge, super limited ammo guns, and those screen clearing special moves that feel like a call for backup. It adds these small layers that actually make you think a bit about when to go all in and when to chill for a second instead of just mindlessly swinging. The pacing is faster and honestly a bit more hectic compared to Streets of Rage 4. You've got dash and roll for movement freedom, but there's no deep juggling system to build long fancy combos. So most of the time you're reacting to chaos rather than setting things up. Visually, the 3D environments actually hold up pretty well. At times they even look really sharp, especially with the lighting and reflection effects doing a lot of heavy lifting. Fight and Rage is a game that still carries strong 90s arcade DNA back when games like Streets of Rage and Final Fight ruled the rental scene. It clearly stands in their shadow, and it knows it. The gameplay isn't just button mashing. There's a combo system with timing, dashes, throws, and special moves that need to be used in the right moment or you'll get punished. The arcade mode also isn't a straight path. You can branch into different routes that change enemies, backgrounds, and music. This alone adds a lot of replay value since one run isn't enough to see everything. There are also multiple endings based on how you play and small choices during runs. If you like digging into a game and replaying it for all its content, this one will easily take your time. Dragon's Crown Pro is basically an upgraded version of the 2013 game brought over to PS4 or PS5. So if you already played it on PS3 or Vita, you can transfer your save and jump straight into the tougher difficulty modes. But if you're a newcomer, it kind of feels like buying black coffee in a fancy chocolate wrapper. It's still the same drink, it just looks nicer. You've got 6 unique classes to pick from: Wizard, Dwarf, Fighter, Amazon, Elf, and Sorceress. Each one has its own playstyle, and you unlock new skills as you level up. Combat is fast, satisfying, and can turn into absolute madness when enemies start pouring in from every direction. Playing solo is fine, but honestly, the game is way more fun with friends. Going through the whole thing alone just feels like being the only single guy while everyone else is out having a good time. Rita's Rewind absolutely nails that retro beat-em-up vibe while wrapping it in an awesome Power Rangers package. Sure, some of the superscalar sections can be pretty damn frustrating, but the core gameplay is still a lot of fun, especially if you've got friends to play with. Combat keeps things old school. You've got basic combos, throws, dodges, running attacks, and super moves. Don't expect anything as deep as Streets of Rage 4 though. The focus is more on positioning, teamwork, and beating the crap out of waves of enemies. The game mixes things up with plenty of stage. Their motorcycle stage, pilot dinosaurs, and fight as the Megazord in pseudo 3D arcade style segments. Not every one of those ideas lands, but to their credit, the developers actually listened to player feedback and improved a lot of the rough spots. Gotta respect that. Scott Pilgrim vs. The World the Game. Complete Edition is what happens when a game gets dragged back into the light after disappearing for years because of licensing messes. You can play as 7 different characters, each with their own special abilities and some satisfying combos. Money actually matters here. You're not just collecting it for fun. You spend it on food and items that help you level up, unlocking new moves and boosting stats like defense, speed, willpower, and strength. Playing solo is fine, nothing special, it gets the job done. But with friends? Yeah, it jumps up like crazy. 4-player co-op turns everything into a wild tag team brawl, where you're chaining combos, jumping into fights, and surviving waves of enemies together. It honestly feels like the game was designed around that chaos with friends in mind, because that's where it really shines. Mother Russia Bleeds comes with a retro 80s pixel art style, and a beat-em-up setting filled with drugs, violence, and chaos. You play as one of 4 characters, a group of Romani people kidnapped by the Russian government for experiments. You wake up in a cell addicted to necros, a drug made from dead bodies. From there, it's all about revenge and taking down the government. The game looks solid, and the combat is the main highlight. I just wish there was more focus on the Russian Revolution side of the story instead of mostly action. It also supports up to 4-player co-op, which changes the whole vibe. Solo is fine, but with friends it turns into chaotic fun. You can heal each other with necros, but also mess each other up if things go wrong. Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons is a solid brawler, no question. The combat feels good, the route choices add a bit of planning, and each character actually plays differently enough that you might come back for another run. Special moves are flashy, and basically your main tool for crowd control. If you manage your meter well, you can wipe out groups of enemies in seconds. But don't get comfortable, some enemies can lock you down with guns or area attacks, turning fights messy real fast. The game uses a run-based structure where you pick different routes, each with its own layout and difficulty. It's not a roguelite though, so don't expect wild, unpredictable changes every run. After clearing sectors, you get random perks, but they're all useful, so there's no real bad pull frustration. Money actually matters too. You use it for continues or shop items. Just don't die too much because revives get expensive fast and will drain your resources quickly. The Punisher is easily one of Capcom's more grounded beat-em-ups. Compared to games like X-Men or Alien vs. Predator, it leans much more on guns, knives, and fighting human enemies before robots start showing up toward the end. The gameplay still holds up, it builds on the foundation of Final Fight, but feels a bit more refined. You've got grapples, counters, weapon combos, light air juggling, and a ton of weapons that are just satisfying as hell to use. Replay value is where the game falls short. There are only 2 playable characters, and they play pretty similarly, so you don't get much reason to keep coming back after a full run. Still, for a beat-em-up released back in 1993, the combat has aged surprisingly well. It still feels responsive, satisfying, and fun to play today. River City Girls 2 continues directly from the first game, following Kyoko and Misako with the same intentionally dumb humor the series is known for. New and returning characters still get their moments, but Kunio, Riki, and guest characters don't really change much in dialogue, so playing them doesn't feel significantly different. Combat is still the same core loop: fast punching, long combos, and satisfying hit effects just like the first game. It still works, but don't expect it to feel new. Skill upgrades through the dojo make progression feel real, but there's still a grind since most moves need to be bought. There's also a new feature where you can recruit enemies as allies, but it's kind of awkward in practice because enemies usually get knocked out before you even get the chance to recruit them, so it doesn't come up that often during normal gameplay.
The theme park? I heard they got these twice fried corn dogs now.
I hate to remind you, but we're on a mission to save.
Towerborne clearly shows a game that went through a major shift during development, and you can feel it across the entire structure. It originally started as a free-to-play project, but later got reworked into a premium game. That change didn't just affect monetization, it also reshaped the design systems underneath. You still play as an ace in the Belfry, the main hub for upgrades, vendors, and co-op. The world is now split into different mission zones, including new areas like a coastal biome with a more direct mission structure compared to the old hex grid system from early builds. It makes progression easier to follow, but it loses some of that earlier map-driven exploration identity. Visually, the game is solid and consistent. Animations look clean and performance holds up well even in co-op sessions. Yeah, for a 2026 release, it's definitely worth checking out. Marvel Cosmic Invasion isn't some groundbreaking game, but it's also not a lazy Marvel cash grab. It's built on the same DNA as Shredder's Revenge, so yeah, you already know what you're getting. Pixel art beat-em-up co-op chaos, and screens packed with enemies right from the start. Every fighter actually feels different instead of just slight variations of the same moveset. The tag system keeps the flow more active since you can swap characters mid-fight, though it also means things can get pretty hectic when you're playing with friends, and everything's exploding on screen. And the difficulty leans on the easier side, because a lot of characters have ranged attacks. That might turn off players looking for a tougher challenge, but it works well if you just want a chill co-op session without stressing out.
I need a minute here.
Lost Castle 2 is a roguelite beat-em-up where you get thrown into arenas full of enemies, spam combos, and slowly scale your character through loot and upgrades. The build system is the main hook. It's not restrictive at all. You can stack effects and end up with ridiculous setups. Summons, poison spam, rune bullets, crit stacking, everything can mix if you know what you're doing. It's not just lots of items. It's more like every run becomes an experiment where the outcome isn't always predictable. Combat is solid and satisfying, but once your build gets strong, the screen can get visually messy with effects everywhere, making it harder to read what's going on. Co-op makes it even better. Multiple builds stacking together create constant chaos in a good way, and even bosses you've beaten before can feel fresh again depending on team setups and synergy. Rotwood is an action roguelite that came out of PC early access and landed on modern platforms without much of a big rollout. The core loop is fast hunts. You jump into an area, clear rooms one by one, pick reward paths, and eventually fight a boss. That's it. No overcomplicated structure, just clean run-based pacing. Weapons actually matter here. You get different playstyles from melee to ranged, and each one changes your rhythm in fights. It's not just pick whatever looks cool. Your weapon really shapes how you play. Progression keeps moving even when you mess up a run. You still earn resources to upgrade your character, improve gear, and unlock new vendors back in the hub. The hub itself slowly turns into a real upgrade center over time. Co-op is a big win, supporting up to 4 players with a focus on teamwork instead of competition. Solo play works fine, but with friends it just feels way more alive.
Oh, chill, bruh. Chill, bruh.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Shredder's Revenge is a classic beat-em-up built on old arcade DNA. Expecting big innovation will only lead to disappointment. The gameplay leveling system is minimal, giving small stat boosts and a few move unlocks. Progression is more about gradual character strength rather than deep customization or builds. Optional challenges like no-hit runs exist but are not essential. Enemy and boss balance varies. Some fights are easy, others get annoying due to positioning or attack patterns. It follows traditional beat-em-up design focused more on action than complexity. The game stands out as one of the stronger modern beat-em-ups. It's available on multiple platforms and supports up to 6-player co-op. Streets of Rage 4 successfully updates the classic beat-em-up formula while staying true to its roots. Combat stays classic at its core, but it adds new layers like juggling, wall combos, and a special system that forces you to think more about timing and momentum instead of just mashing attacks. This is more about the arcade experience than deep storytelling. The soundtrack is one of its strongest points, blending veteran and modern composers into a gritty urban vibe that fits perfectly with the fight pacing. And yeah, it's at its best when played with friends in co-op, built for that loud, chaotic arcade energy. Yeah, this is easily one of the best beat-em-ups that you should play. Absolum immediately shows its Streets of Rage 4 DNA in the combat system. It's responsive, clean, and flexible, with every character playing differently instead of just cosmetic swaps. The combo system and Arcana setup give you room to experiment with different ways to fight. The game pushes an aggressive playstyle without punishing you for it. You can keep chaining combos even after enemies drop, and your resources still build up as you go. The overpressure system prevents you from relying on one strategy, forcing you to adapt. Every character has a clear identity, balanced, heavy hitters, speed/combo focus, and more technical magic/setup types. Progression per run through skills and rituals also changes your build enough to keep combat feeling fresh. So yeah, for 2026, this roguelike beat-em-up is solid if you're into this genre. It's way better with friends than solo. And that's it for today. Those were lists the top 25 best beat-em-up games you should play right now. Got a hidden gem I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or discovered a new title to add to your collection, feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss future content. Once again, if you want to buy games with cheap price, the link in the description, okay? So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.